Is growing food a waste of water? Without food, we wouldn't be able to survive. How could somebody just take away our fuel like that? As Governor Brown makes water conservation permanent, I couldn't help to think about the frequent, almost handmade looking signs that Big Ag has ensured is placed every 50 or so miles across Highway 5, reaching from Sacramento to Los Angeles. Tugging on your natural human survival instincts of the fear of lack of food, they ask the question, is growing food wasting water? By the end of the speech, you should all be aware that agricultural crops and fields are well worth all the water that's put into them. The problem is that the numbers don't tell the whole story of California's role as one of the world's largest agricultural machines. California's historical drought has taught us a lot about how water is used and who uses it the most. The state's latest revenue shows agriculture was a $46 billion industry in 2013, providing over 45,000 jobs. Well-publicized reporters and studies have broken down the amount of water needed to grow food in California. And while the numbers were known to farmers, they weren't known by non-growers, with some reacting strongly and openly criticizing the agriculture industry from its water usage and crop choices. The cause is that tossing food out is clearly a waste of money and maybe even immortal, according to Pope Francis, who on Wednesday said that it's stealing food from the tables to the poor and hungry. And as a Fresno State news article reporter had reported, you also may be creating extra greenhouse gas emissions by sending food to a landfill. By throwing away food that you aren't eating, that is a waste of water. And it's also a waste of a heck of a lot of water, says a news reporter. According to the World Resources Institution, an environmental think tank, inside a 1.3 billion ton of food wasted each and every year worldwide is 45 trillion gallons of water. And this is represented by about 24% of all water used in agriculture. By throwing away food, it doesn't affect how much farmers are producing. Not all foods are equally created. As the World Resources Institute reported, a pound of wheat flour contains about 12% of water and 1,600 calories, whereas a pound of apples contains about 71% of water and contains 70 calories. Fruits and vegetables are the largest resource of loss and waste on a weight basis because they contain more water than other foods. And a solution to this is to manage how much you're watering and what you're watering. There's been an app developed to control the water intake, and nearly 3 billion people are already facing water scarcity. Farmers look at both the technology and traditional way to grow food with a less increasing strained resource. Today, some 2.8 billion people face insufficient supply of fresh water, and according to the United Nations, that number is set to increase to half of the world's population by 2030. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Resources reports that about 40% of all foods depend on irrigation, which accounts for almost 70% of fresh water. It makes sense to me that farmers are relying on new technology as well as old technology to attempt in trying to manage their water. To recap, growing food is not a waste of water. Not eating the food that you're purchasing is a waste of water. So the next time that you guys go to the grocery store, ask yourself if you're really going to eat it or if you're just going to waste it. Thank you.